Movie romances. These cinematic love stories leave us sighing, swooning, and sometimes even sobbing uncontrollably into our popcorn. There's just something magical about these romances that makes us believe in love again, even if it's only till the end credits roll. Honestly, nothing quite does the trick like a good movie romance. You know, the ones that have set the bar for what love should be, with all the dramatic declarations, heart-stopping moments, and a few questionable life choices thrown in for good measure. Today, we're discussing the greatest movie romances in history. So, grab that popcorn and prepare to relive the romances that have made us laugh, cry, and maybe even question our own love lives. At number 10, Princess Buttercup and Wesley from The Princess Bride. This duo took us on a wild ride through a fantasy land filled with epic sword fights, rodent-sized terrors, and declarations of love that still make our hearts flutter. The film, released back in 1987, delivered a love story that is both timeless and hilariously tongue-in-cheek. Wesley's "As You Wish" is the ultimate flex in romantic shorthand. Every time he says it, he's really saying, "I love you." Forget love languages. Wesley invented his own. Fans adore Buttercup and Wesley because their love defies just about everything: time, distance, and even, death. Remember when Wesley, under the guise of the dread pirate Roberts, climbs the cliffs of insanity just to save his girl? That is dedication. And how about the part where he literally comes back from the dead? Because apparently, true love can beat even a bad case of being mostly dead. At number 9, Ilsa and Rick from Casablanca. If you think your love life is complicated, wait until you hear about these two. Set against the noirish backdrop of World War II, Casablanca was released in 1942. Rick and Ilsa's romance is the kind of love that is messy, imperfect, and oh so real. Fans can't get enough of this couple because they're not afraid to keep it complicated. Rick's famous line, "Here's looking at you, kid," is a whole mood. And let's not forget the tear-jerking goodbye scene at the foggy airport. Rick, in a gut-wrenching move, lets Ilsa go, knowing she needs to be with her husband, because sometimes love means doing the hardest thing of all. Their story isn't about happy endings. It's about the sacrifices we make for love. It reminds us that sometimes the greatest love stories are the ones that don't end with a kiss, but with a bittersweet farewell. At number 8, Scarlett O'Hara and Rhett Butler from Gone with the Wind. This 1939 movie is all about the battle of the sexes, with Scarlett and Rhett going head-to-head in a fiery romance that is hotter than a Georgia summer. These two are as stubborn as they come, and their love story is basically one long, steamy argument. Every scene between them crackles with intensity, like when Rhett swoops in and says, "You need kissing badly." That is what is wrong with you. You just know these two aren't doing a lot of talking off camera. And who could forget the infamous staircase scene? It has become a symbol of their hot and cold romance, equal parts seductive and scandalous. And even though their love story ends with Rhett dropping the mic with, "Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn," we all know that deep down, Scarlett is not taking no for an answer. At number 7, Sally and Harry from When Harry Met Sally. Released in 1989, this romantic comedy asks the age-old question: can men and women really be friends without, complicating things with all those pesky feelings? Over the years, we watch Harry and Sally dance around each other, moving from awkward acquaintances to best friends to lovers in a way that feels like the rom-com equivalent of slow-cooked comfort food. Who could forget that unforgettable scene in Katz's Deli? It's the kind of moment that perfectly sums up their relationship. Honest, raw, and downright hilarious. And then there's Harry's grand New Year's Eve confession. When you realize you want to spend the rest of your life with somebody, you want the rest of your life to start as soon as possible. This line makes you believe that maybe, just maybe, the best romances are the ones that sneak up on you and hide in plain sight as friendships all along. At number 6, Kathy Selden and Dawn Lockwood from Singing in the Rain. Cathy and Dawn's romance from the 1952 classic movie is like a delightful dance number. It's full of humor, charm, and just the right amount of sass. One of their most swoon-worthy moments is when Dawn serenades Cathy with "You Were Meant for Me" on an empty soundstage. And that grand finale kiss shared amidst applause and a sweeping orchestra proves that sometimes the best love stories are the ones that end with a standing ovation and a catchy tune. Cathy and Dawn remind us that love doesn't always have to be so serious. It can be a joyful dance in the rain, especially when you're singing along. At number 5, Margaret and Andrew from The Proposal. This film from 2009 gives us the iconic fake engagement plot with a fresh, comedic twist. Margaret, the tough-as-nails book editor who makes Miranda Priestley look like a Girl Scout, and Andrew, her charming assistant with dreams of becoming an editor himself, enter into a sham engagement that, surprise, surprise, starts feeling a little too real. Fans adore this pair because their journey from mutual irritation to unexpected affection is as bumpy as a ride on a mechanical bull. The chemistry between Sandra Bullock and Ryan Reynolds is off the charts, especially in scenes like their accidental naked collision. Talk about an awkward meeting. Also, that moment at the airport when Margaret, finally tired of her own nonsense, confesses her feelings. It's raw, vulnerable, and as honest as a rom-com gets. Margaret and Andrew's story shows that love can bloom in the most unlikely gardens, especially when it's watered with a little bit of laughter. At number 4, Elizabeth and Mr. Darcy from Pride and Prejudice, 2005. This adaptation of Jane Austen's classic novel gives us a masterclass in slow-burn romance. Elizabeth is sharp-witted and fiercely independent, while Darcy is, well, a bit of a brooding snob at first glance. Fans can't get enough of their evolving relationship, which starts with some serious side-eye and misjudgments, but eventually blossoms into a love that's as deep as Darcy's pockets. The tension between them is electric in every scene, like during that stormy showdown in the rain where they finally let all their feelings fly. It's the kind of argument where you're not sure if they're about to start kissing or start throwing punches. And who could forget Darcy's first proposal? Talk about a train wreck of awkwardness. It's somehow both arrogant and sweet. Their love story is all about pride, prejudice, and finding love in the last place you would think, right under your perfectly powdered nose. At number 3, Mia and Sebastian from La La Land. This love story is all about finding the balance between romance and chasing your dreams, set against the colorful backdrop of Los Angeles. Mia, the aspiring actress with stars in her eyes, and Sebastian, the jazz musician with big dreams of saving his dying art, are drawn together by a shared passion and some serious chemistry. Their story is both dreamily romantic and achingly real. Their duet of City of Stars is a perfect snapshot of their relationship, hopeful, a little bit wistful, and filled with the bittersweetness of pursuing your passions. And their magical dance at the Griffith Observatory is a literal and figurative high point that blends fantasy with romance in a way that only La La Land could pull off. But it's the final montage that really hits you in the feels, where it shows an alternate universe where they chose love over their careers. It's a gut punch of a reminder that sometimes love isn't enough to keep two people together, especially when their dreams are pulling them in opposite directions. Sometimes the greatest act of love is knowing when to let go. At number 2, Rose and Jack from Titanic. Just missing the top spot, we've got Rose and Jack from Titanic. Released in 1997, this film brought us a love story as epic as The Unsinkable Ship, until it wasn't. Rose is a high society girl suffocating under the weight of expectations, and Jack is a penniless artist who somehow manages to charm his way into first class and our hearts with nothing but a smile and some pretty decent sketching skills. Fans were swept away by their whirlwind performance, which is as doomed as it is beautiful. I mean, who doesn't remember the moment where Jack sketches Rose like one of his French girls? It's as intimate as it gets. And not just because she's naked, but because it's a scene that breaks all the rules of their world. Also, their iconic embrace at the bow of the ship, arms outstretched as they fly over the ocean, which has since become the go-to move for anyone who finds themselves on a boat with a date. Even though their love story ends in an icy tragedy, Jack, there was room on that door. It remains a timeless symbol of young love, adventure, and the ultimate sacrifice. Plus, it taught us all a valuable lesson about life jackets. At number 1, Allie and Noah from The Notebook. And finally, grabbing the top spot, we have the heart-wrenching love story of Allie and Noah from The Notebook. This 2004 tearjerker based on Nicholas Sparks' novel has been setting unrealistic expectations for summer flings ever since. Set in the 1940s, Allie and Noah's relationship is a roller coaster of passion, heartbreak, and undying commitment. These two go from summer lovers to soulmates with a detour through a whole lot of drama, and fans just can't get enough. Who could forget the famous scene where they finally kiss in the rain, drenched and emotional, reigniting a love that has been simmering beneath the surface for years? And then there's the heart-wrenching moment in their later years when Noah reads to Allie as she battles dementia. It's a scene that guarantees at least a couple of tears, or if you're like most of us, full-on ugly crying. Allie and Noah's romance is one for the ages, which shows us that true love can survive anything: war, separation, overbearing parents, and even memory loss. They make us believe in soulmates, everlasting love, and, of course, that no love story is complete without a little bit of rain. Movie romances make us dream, cry, and sometimes question everything we thought we knew about love. But are these epic love stories setting us up for unrealistic expectations in real life? Or are they the ultimate inspiration for what love should be?